Alright everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and I'm here today with Virgo. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi guys, I'm Virgo Durai. For those of you who don't know me, I'm pretty much the how-to guy on Dragonball Xenoverse, as it would stand.
He's discovering new moves that work against other moves and builds and things like that all the time. He's got like a school for Virgo where you can learn how to play ranked and 1v1 stuff. He's a really good 1v1 ranked fighter, and I brought him in today because we're going to talk about our key blast or key spam character builds broken in Dragon Ball Xenoverse, because I've been getting a lot of hate going to some people lately on some of my videos. Particularly, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll leave a link in the description down below. A JRZ Saiyan, who was formerly a #1 ranked fighter, versus one of my Dragon Ball Z Fights guys, STI Rivera. They had a battle. STI Rivera won most of their battles, at least the videos that went up on my channel. STI Rivera won most of their battles, playing as a key spam character who liked to keep his distance. And everybody in the comment section got really mad at Rivera for playing a key spam character whose goal is to keep his distance, when in reality, there are ways around this. I feel like it's just balancing and part of the game. Do you have anything you want to back me up with on that?
What I do want to say is, I just watched it, as you know. When you play, there are different strategies that people have in this game. And quite frankly, a Rush Recklessly strategy can work for certain characters if your build is right. However, if you want to play a Key Blast character, and most of your moves are knockback and things like that, it's kind of dumb to rush on in and not try to bait your opponent. So, for those of you guys who called him a drifter and things like that, I wouldn't say he drifted, because he drifted with a purpose. He wasn't just running the entire match. And there's a difference in gameplay styles. To me, what I call, may I swear on your channel?
Nah, go for it.
Alright, so with me, I would call like a bitch build. Basically would be someone who moved away whenever you got, anywhere decently close, use some type of broken move, and basically just try to run you out of time, just try to eat the clock on. However, STI Rivera, despite goading from people, kept a pretty solid strategy all game. So I wouldn't say that key builds themselves are bad. I would say it'd be the person who's playing it.
There are a couple moves in key builds that can get really annoying, but the point of this video that I wanted to make, and the point that I wanted to get out there, and you were actually telling me this before we started the video on Skype, melee builds for the most part dominate rank. There's a lot more melee builds, there's a lot more melee characters out there right now than there are key builds, and it's because melee is #1 easy to use, but #2 they're fairly balanced. You were telling me about this. It's a fairly balanced thing, but there's a reason melee builds are getting used more. And it's weird to me that if melee builds are getting used more, why do people get reamed so much for using key builds if they're the less popular one? They're not less popular because it's people will hate you for using a key build. It doesn't matter. If key builds were really as strong as everyone seems to claim they are when they get beat by a key build, then everyone would be running key builds, and that would be it. And that's not the case. And I think when you have fighters like DBZ Sim uses his Bunana character, who is a stamina draining character, and JRZ's character is mostly melee, and then you have a lot of everything. But I feel like that kind of help proves that key is not a broken part of Xenoverse. It's part of the balance that is needed. Because another thing you were telling me on Skype before is one of DBZ Sim's characters that he runs. One of the only ways to really beat him is to use a key spam character. He trumps almost any kind of melee character you can bring to the table.
Yep. And to give a little insight as to why Key Blast builds have fallen off so much, melee builds, especially the super moves, tend to have super armor and things of that nature that actually cut through key moves. So the main two moves that everyone is running in melee builds is Rebellion Spear and Shining Slash. Shining Slash because if someone runs away, you immediately catch up to them and you can combo. And Rebellion Spear because it literally cuts through any key move that is thrown at you, or any move period that is thrown at you, and deals a nice heavy set of damage to your opponent. That is why Key Blast moves have fallen off. So and when people say that Key Blast moves, and this is my opinion, when people say Key Blast people are bad fighters and play horribly and this, that, and the third, I think it's that people don't want to find their own way on getting around something. And it's almost like if you've ever seen the Cell versus Gohan fight, where Gohan just kept dodging his punches, and Cell literally asked, "Why can't I hit you?" I feel like it's that type of syndrome going on.
They're mad because they can't find out how to hit him, but there are ways around this. Another thing I want to bring up Rhymestyle and I did a 2v2 against JRZ and DBZ Sim the other day that went up on my channel. And some of the people were like, oh, hey, it was really cool to see him fight. Just in case you guys haven't seen it yet, link will be down below. Rhymestyle and I won. I'll say some of the fights. Go watch the video if you want the thing. But Rhymestyle and I won at least some of the fights, and some people I was watching the comments were like, oh, spam style and spam shot. They were mad because we were using our super moves to win. And I want to point out one thing. Nobody can be talking about me because my melee build character with 0 points in strike supers or key supers only has 4 bars of key and no way to charge unless he's punching you or getting punched, so he has to be in the fight to spam ultimates. So I know you weren't talking about me. And then mainly Rhymestyle's character, he's brought out this new character he calls Teen Whisk, and it revolves a lot around Symphonic Destruction, which is a crazy strong instant key move with invincibility frames. Symphonic Destruction may have its issues, but we were able to beat them in 2v2s, and a lot of people were upset about that. Oh, these guys are spammers, how can they get away with this? But Rhymestyle's character specifically is designed for that, and there are ways around it, and we know this because in the fights before, and then I think in a couple fights since then, JRZ has used the same character and destroyed Rhymestyle, destroyed his Teen Whisk with a melee character. So, like, the spamming is annoying, but if you have any idea what you're doing, it is easy to get around it. You can get around it if you're better than the other player.
And something, guys, I do want to say that this is not Street Fighter. This is not Tekken. This is not Naruto even. This is a different beast on its own. And when you say somebody is a key spammer, you have to understand that a lot of times, especially if they're not using an Earthling, they have to get their key back by A, fighting you, B, punching the air, C, having a Z-Soul that recovers key for them. This game is designed for people to do both melee and key blast. So if I make a character that's not going to be good at melee, what do you think is going to happen to you? Straight up. So when people say spammers, you guys got to understand the definition of a spammer. What is a spammer? For you to call out a spammer. That's the first and foremost. That's the first thing. A spammer is someone who will literally do a move repeatedly until you die. Especially if the move gives them some type of advantage. Now, with Symphonic Destruction, like Thundershot said, that is a different beast on its own. However, you can get around it. Actually, if you check my channel, I did do a video on how to get around moves such as Spirit Ball, Symphonic Destruction, how to avoid them, how to stop them, or how to completely get around them. Most of you guys have the tools for it. You just don't know how to do it.
There is no, and you were telling me this again before we started the video, there is no one move or one set of moves in the game that is impossible to get around. So if you're getting beaten by a spammer, that means you're getting beat by the same move over and over and over again, and you need to find out how to get around that one move, and then you'll be 1 or 2 moves, whatever, and then you should be good to go.
Precisely. This game is almost like Pokemon. Yeah, you know, different builds counter each other. For example, DBZ Sim's Bunana build counters my Scala combo build. But I have a theory, that if I switch Scala's combo build to a one-strike build, he won't counter it as much. So it's things like that. Certain key moves counter certain things that people might want to do. Evil Rise Strike counters Shining Slash. So does Ill Flash. It counters Shining Slash like a charm. However, All Clear does not counter Shining Slash. Yet, All Clear counters Ukimi's Get-Ups and Wake-Ups. So it's so many different things that you can do in this game, and because it's not necessarily a full-on counter pick, what you need to do, especially if you're in a 2 out of 3 with somebody, what you need to do is make sure your presets are set for different situations. If you make the mistake of not having these different presets for different situations, then you're screwed either way. I can literally jump in with Scala and use Orin combo over and over again, and if you don't know how to get around it, or if you don't know that you need an escape move out of it, or if you don't have a proper escape move to counter it, then you're just going to keep getting hit with it and wasting your escape moves, and I'm going to keep doing it. So people, you gotta pay attention to these things. Now, I will say though that just like Melee, there are certain annoying key moves, but I think what the issue is with this finger pointing thing is the simple fact that one, it's not something that people see as much anymore. It's not something that people are used to, and so they fear it. But at the same time, if you're somebody who runs any of these moves on your character, Evil Whirlwind, Gigantic Omega, Shining Slash, or Evil Rise Strike, you literally cannot complain about any key move, because chances are your build is from somebody else's build, who's from somebody else's build, who's from somebody else's build, and these are pretty much all of the builds that you see on rank. So that would make your playstyle not even your own, and that would make you a net deck player, you know, essentially. So you shouldn't be so quick to point the finger. What instead people should be doing is saying, man, that guy has an interesting strategy. How do I get around it? What build?
That was the first. Oh, go ahead.
What build can I make to move around it? If I'm constantly pelting you with Dodon Rays, you got to figure out how to perfect block those things or move out of the way, and what's going to counter me.
And that was one of the first things I did. So for those of you guys who've seen me and Rhymestyle fight on this channel before, on his channel before, whatever, you'll know that with our custom characters, we've had 2 rounds so far, and our custom characters, I've gone 9-0 on Rhymestyle. I beat him 9 times out of the 9 times that our custom characters have fought in that game. He made Teen Whisk the other day in that thing that he's putting out on his videos now, and his Teen Whisk completely destroyed my melee build. He has the Boo Shout or whatever, which gives you back stamina. That escape move is insanely strong, by the way. Followed up by a Symphonic Destruction attack. My character's a melee build, and number one, I'm not like a top-ranked guy or anything. I don't know how to deal with that. I couldn't get around it, but the first thing I thought when the fight was over, I wasn't mad at Rhymestyle. I wasn't mad at Symphonic Destruction or his Boo Shout or his instant transmission to Ill Flash or whatever he was doing to me. The first thing I thought, how do I find a character that beats that? So I started thinking, okay, maybe I want a character that keeps more distance. This character's supposed to be medium ranges. I want a character that keeps distance. I can hit him with moves and all this stuff. But that's the first thing I went to, is how do I beat that? I didn't get mad at the game. I didn't get mad at him. I went on with it. But no, the bottom line, the point of this game is that while key builds may seem like the most annoying, in reality, what we have here is a relatively balanced game. There's a couple moves, maybe a Z-Soul here or there, that get out of hand. But there are definitely ways around spamming in this game. There are definitely ways around key characters or characters reliant on their key moves and things like that. It's all about learning the game, and it's all about figuring it out. If you're getting beat by something, odds are it's not because that something is broken. It's because you just haven't figured out how to beat it yet.
Just like in any other game you play. Like if you think about way back when in Street Fighter 2, people could not get around Sagat and Tiger. The Tiger Shot. Couldn't get around it. But nowadays it's like water getting around it, because it's such common knowledge. So just because it's not common knowledge on how to get around something doesn't mean that it's a bad strategy or it's a cheap strategy. Me personally, what I do is I will exhaust every resource that I possibly can, every resource at my disposal, before I pass judgment on if a move is cheap or not.
And there you go. And that's probably the best way to go about it. But yeah, and another thing I gotta keep an eye on is that Xenoverse, they're constantly coming out with patches and updates. The first ones may not have gone too hot. The first ones may have broke some Z-Souls and things like that. But they're getting some good patches and updates now. That's why DLC Pack 3 has been delayed, is because they're working on balancing these moves. They're working on trying to get things as even as they possibly can. Things or reasons why, like, I Am Neither Kami nor Piccolo now is not insanely strong anymore, and moves like that. They're working on nerfing the moves that need to be nerfed, so on and so forth. So the more you play ranked, the better it's going to get over time anyway. But do you have any words you want to say before we close out today?
I just want to encourage you guys, please try everything you can to get better. If you run into a wall, don't fall down, don't sit down, keep playing. Like, if you guys check out my first Somebody's Gotta Take This L versus Indakuba, he ruined my life. And then I go back on his channel and I finally won. I barely won, but I won. And now I think I have a slight edge over Indakuba. Similar with JRZ Sand. When I first played JRZ Sand, I beat him, and this is no lie, I beat him I think 10 times straight. He had 27,000 BP, I beat him 10 times straight. And now he is on par with me. There are moves and there are certain things that you have to get used to with your muscle memory and with your reflexes and with your eyes, and then you have to take that and figure out what moves counter what moves. And then you got to be prepared for the fact that there are going to be people who don't like Rebellion Spear or who don't like Shining Slash, so they're going to figure out what moves counter this move. And it becomes a big chess game. And as long as you're thinking, you have the edge. As long as you're thinking and you can manipulate your opponent, you're going to have the edge. So that's all I want to do. Just encourage you guys. Not everything is a spam build just because it's winning. Sure, some things are cheap. Cheap being that it doesn't necessarily have a high cost to use. But for the most part, there has been no move in this game that I have not been able to get around. Even Absolute Zero, I'm able to get around that.
All right, that's Virgo, everybody. Once again, his channel link will be in the description down below if you want to check him out. He does a lot of these build and class guides, or how to get around. He's got a couple videos, for example, Symphonic Destruction, how to get around Symphonic Destruction, how to beat those moves that may seem too strong. So his channel's a good place to start if you're one of the people really worried about spammers or key spammers or whatnot. His channel's a really good place to start. So his link will be in the description down below if you want to check him out. Subscribe to him over there. But that's going to wrap it up for us today. I'm Thundershot here with Virgo, and we are out.
Peace
Peace, guys.